The euphoria is back into the market because Bitcoin is finally pumping above the $71,000 and this is looking very bullish. And in this video I'm going to tell you the exact reason why Bitcoin is pumping and what we can expect for Bitcoin in the coming days. There's a lot of interesting data coming into the market for Bitcoin, which I will have a look at in this video. I will also have a look at the two altcoins Ethereum and Chainlink, but about that later in the video. A lot of people are very bullish again because we are seeing a huge pump, but we also have to be a little bit cautious because there could also be a bearish scenario unfolding for Bitcoin today. So watch this video all the way to the end. Don't forget to slap up that like button and let's dive right into the charts. I've been telling you a lot about this huge horizontal resistance levels on the daily time frame for Bitcoin, and yesterday we pumped through this previous high and we created a huge gain of this resistance area, and now we can see a beautiful pump to the top side, and we came to this next big resistance around the $71,500, and this is looking very beautiful. But however, we can see a lot of resistance already coming into the market and we already see a little bit of rejection. So I think Bitcoin could potentially also see a retracement back to this previous resistance to turn it into support, and from there we can again see some bounce to the top side, and if this support holds strong, then we can enter the market again for Bitcoin and see more top side here. And Bitcoin is still in this huge uptrend on the daily time frame, so I think we will just see a continuation of the trend. And if Bitcoin breaks this huge resistance area around the $71,500, we will see a huge gain and then we can make an attempt to break the previous all-time high. But of course there's also a bearish scenario possible, and that we're going to see a drop back to the previous CME gap around the $66,810, and this gap is still open as we can see. We saw that Bitcoin was trading around this level during the weekend, but before the weekend ends we saw a nice bump to the top side, and now we're coming all the way back to this $71,500. So this is looking very bullish of course, but however we could potentially see a throw back to this level. But of course this CME gap doesn't have to be closed because 99 out of 100 times the Bitcoin CME gap gets closed. So this could be the one time that Bitcoin doesn't close the CME gap and that we will just trade to new all-time highs. And the Bitcoin ETFs had another very interesting day yesterday. We saw a beautiful inflow again of $479 million. So this is insane, and especially BlackRock is buying like crazy. Also the Fidelity, the Bitwise and the ARK Invest Bitcoin ETF are buying, and also Grayscale is buying, so this is beautiful to see. And now we are seeing another spike to the top side, and now we're seeing a total cumulative inflow of $22.5 billion, so this is insane of course. So this is having a very bullish effect on the price of Bitcoin, and this is the reason why Bitcoin is pumping. So let's see if the rest of the week can be as bullish as the last few days, because if we do, then we can just aim for a new all-time high. And looking at the chart where we can see that Bitcoin shifted from its downtrend into a huge uptrend, we can now see that Bitcoin created a new higher high, and this is looking very bullish because we are gaining this previous high, and this was also confluent with resistance around this last one high. So Bitcoin is now just continuing the bullish uptrend to the top side, and we also can see that Bitcoin is going to create a new higher high, and from there we could potentially create a new higher low, and then we can just create more bullish momentum to the top side. So we can now see that this huge resistance is coming into play, and this will be the very first resistance for Bitcoin to break. But of course we could also potentially see a bit of a rejection, come back to make a higher low, and from there we can just continue the bullish uptrend to the top side. So this is looking very beautiful to see of course. And we also saw that Bitcoin created a higher low around here, so we can see this higher low was getting formed. And now we're breaking through this previous high, so this is looking very beautiful, and this is the start of the continuation of the bullish uptrend. And looking at the Bitcoin chart with these horizontal levels that act as resistance and support, we can see that Bitcoin bounced from this previous resistance that was turned into support, and now we're seeing a beautiful spike to the top side. And these previous lines that were red, we can now paint them green because they are now acting as support, because we are pumped through them. And we can see this last horizontal resistance is now coming into play, and it will be the last resistance for Bitcoin to break in order to make an attempt to create a new all-time high. So this is looking very bullish, but this horizontal resistance is very strong because we can see in the past a lot of price interactions around this level. So if Bitcoin breaks this resistance area to the top side, we could potentially see a retest of the resistance to turn it into support, and then we can aim for a new all-time high. But of course we could potentially also see a little bit of a retracement back to this previous resistance to turn it into support, and then we can just aim for a higher high and continue the bullish uptrend. And I think this will be the most likely scenario because this previous resistance hasn't been turned into support, so this level needs to be tested as support, and from there we can just aim for new highs. And if we then have a look at the data of the Bitcoin quarterly returns, we can now see that the last quarter of this year is almost in the 12% of an increase for Bitcoin. And we can also see that October is really starting right now, and we can see double digits for the inflow in October. So this is looking very bullish, of course, and everyone was saying that October was the most bullish month ever in history of Bitcoin, and it is becoming a reality right now. And let's see if October can end bullish, because we still have 3 days in October. And after that, we also want to see November and December are going to be insane. Just like we saw in previous cycles. We saw a huge inflow of money into Bitcoin. And we could potentially see a very big all-time high getting reached into the end of 2024. So let me know in the comments if you think Bitcoin will create an all-time high in 2024. And if we zoom all the way out to this bull flag formation, I was telling you about this huge breakout of this bull flag formation, and that we saw a retest of the resistance area to turn it into support, and that's exactly what we did last week. And now we can see a spike to the top side, and we can see a separation of this resistance area that was turned into support. And now of course we want to see more bullish continuation for this bull flag formation, and eventually we want to break this previous all-time high, which is confluent with the top side of this bull flag formation. But the breakout target of this formation will be around $110,000, so there's still a long road for Bitcoin to make, but this was a very beautiful breakout and a retest of the resistance as support. So we can now aim for higher targets, and this is the exact reason why Bitcoin is pumping. And if we then zoom out to the monthly time frame, we can see this beautiful bullish month for October, and this bullish month is now turning very green. And we can now also see this huge breakout of this consolidation formation, and this was taking almost 8 months to break out. So this is very beautiful to see, of course, and this is a very bullish candle. So if October can close the candle around this level, then we could potentially see more exponential moves for Bitcoin to the top side. And of course, this will be the start of the biggest bull run ever in history. And the first interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Ethereum. We can see these horizontal levels for Ethereum coming into play, and these horizontal levels act as resistance and support, and this level has to be painted red because it is resistance. And we are now coming closer to this resistance area, so if Ethereum is going to break it to the top side, we could potentially see a retest, and then we can aim for the next big resistance around the $2,900. But of course, we could also potentially see a resistance coming into play, that we are going to see a rejection, and then we can aim for the lower side support at around the $2,400. So this is going to be the next make or break point for Ethereum, and this will decide the direction for Ethereum. And if we have a look at the Ethereum inflows, we can see that the numbers are not quite interesting as well. And we can see yesterday an outflow of $1 million, so this was nothing very bullish or bearish. But we of course want to see the same numbers for the Bitcoin ETFs happening. So let's see if the rest of the week can be a little bit more bullish for the Ethereum ETF. And if we then go back to the charts, we can see on another daily time frame this huge consolidation formation is unfolding. And we can see on the top side the huge horizontal resistance coming into play. And this is the next big resistance for Ethereum to break. But we can also see this upward sloping support line, and we need to hold this support area just like we saw last week. And now we are seeing a bounce to the top side. So let's see if Ethereum can come back to this resistance area, potentially see a breakout to the top side, a retest of resistance to turn it into support, and then we can aim for the next big resistance around $2,900. But first we need to break this huge resistance on the top side, and that will be of course very bullish. And the next interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Chainlink. We can see Chainlink is between this huge resistance and support area on the daily time frame, and we can see a nice bounce from this lower side support again. So we are now seeing a bounce to the top side, and let's see if Chainlink can come back to this next big resistance around the $12.5, and that of course will be bullish. But we can also see a little bit of an uptrend happening on the daily time frame for Chainlink. So on the lower side we can see a lot of touch points as support, so every time we touch this support we saw a nice bounce to the top side. So let's see if Chainlink can come back to the resistance area, retest it as support, and then just continue the bullish uptrend to the top side. And then of course we want to see exponential move for Chainlink. And I still think that Chainlink will reach around the $100 in the coming bull cycle. So let me know in the comments if you hold Chainlink and what your thoughts about Chainlink are in this next bull run. Please give a like if you find the video useful. Don't forget to follow me on my socials, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.